We're like, hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are in the world. You're here with your host, Sabrina Ben Salmi, on Conversations of Exploration on Radio Works World. Welcome to the show, Marta and Richard. I'd like to say hello to the listeners.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Oh, you're most welcome. Richard and Marta, I've been so excited about having you on the show. First and foremost, because I've had first-hand experience of the amazing work you do. So I wanted to share the juicy magic that you have with the world, basically. Could you tell me what it is that you actually do?
Yeah,
to the listeners.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, well, we've put together like a very bespoke mind, body, and soul experience. So instead of just going to one area or one person, you would come to us and we would do the mind, body, and soul in one session. So it takes people on like a journey within, but not just on like a mindset or an energy where you go to individual people. You come to us for the whole experience. So it's a blend of 5 main elements, really, of transformational coaching, bespoke intersensory deep trance meditation work, which is very grounding. Also we scan the body for energy. You look for a negative energy within the particular person and remove that, as well as remove entities or anything else that's formed in the person that may be blocking them too. On top of that, we do energy renewal and healing, and then balancing the actual person energetically. And then the 5th element is very much a case of a deep reflective coaching experience at the end of it to basically embed and to make that person feel and realize where they've actually gone to just in that one session. And, Sabrina, by all means, tell this is your experience of that brief intro.
Gosh, it was something very new to me. Didn't have a clue. I didn't really understand it at first, but I trusted you both. I must say it's something that you need to experience experientially. It was quite profound. I think I came at the other end and I called you both. I said, I don't know what's happened, but it feels amazing. And I couldn't put my finger on it. And then as the days went on, I noticed that I had a deeper connection with myself. I remember I think I called you both about a headache I had. And following the session, I had this really bad headache. And I'm not one to get headaches. And I just had to go to sleep. And when I woke up, I felt this deep sense of connection. I was like on purpose. I was really present. I was responding differently as opposed to reacting. I've got a big family, so that was really a golden nugget for me. So thank you guys. Kids going crazy and I'm going, we have to choose love. And they're looking at me going, oh, okay. Really peaceful. I got a sense of peace. What I think you're different, but what do you think is different because of the two of you coming together, which is different to what's out there on the market?
Why are we different? We use different coaching modalities. We blend different approaches, different experiences, our own personal experience, as well as being very creative in the moment. But I think that very important to mention here is the depth we've gone to within ourselves on our own personal journey and the shit we worked through within ourselves, the limiting beliefs, limiting patterns, how we turn around our own lives, and now coming together and bringing all this experience to the table to share with a person that decides to co-create with us.
Yeah, it's a beautiful synergy of where our experiences independently, but then obviously bringing it together, what that's created is something vastly more powerful and creative, because obviously we bounce off each other, we basically look at how we're actually saying things, where we're going with it, how it can actually be crafted. But the real key point in what we bring is this very bespoke experience for the individual. So it's a very tailored, and then we do take them on this particular journey from there within, and then support them through that particular journey with reflective sessions, as well as, so it's not just all bombardment. There's this deep, and we move these particular scales of coaching, the relaxation work or the meditation, and then the energy work, and then the reflection. We each particular session is very bespoke to that particular person's needs. We even set the intentions before the future sessions, so that person can work on a certain aspect or element in their life. So it becomes very much about that, as opposed to this whole history or whole, you know, scenario. It's very, very, very unique in that moment for that person, and that's what makes us unique.
As well as being very much in the moment with a person and responding to what arises as a result of our work together. So we've been very present. Yes.
See, some of the work, especially the second layer, is creating this space of relaxation and sanctuary for that particular person, which some people have never experienced. And just when you experienced it, Sabrina, in the respect of, you know, that you could go to that, even though you've got this you know, this large family and you've got a busy, you know, work-life balance scenario going on, you can always go to that particular space, and that's where people think, oh, I have to go on holiday. Yes, obviously go on holiday, but also you can have that moment, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, just to be in that particular space, which is amazing. But as we combine that with everything, then it just becomes, as you experienced and as you beautifully said, this overall transformational experience. And that's the beauty of it. It's not just one element. It's not my pattern in my mind. It's not my energy that's in my body. It's not, I can't relax. It's not, how do I incorporate all of that in one scenario? It's all happening in that one session.
Yes, I totally agree. I think that in that piece, because how often do I get time to just check out? And that was phenomenal, just to have that time to check in. And I think that created this space for me to just catch up with myself. So it's really nice. You're very unique at doing it. But I love the way you guys are kind of different, but seamlessly connected. I found that very lovely, and you're very much able to create a safe space. I think my husband came in when I was speaking to you, which is so unusual. He's not one, he's a very introvert. He can just keep himself to himself, and he's not quite interested in some things. He's quite, he's not sold on quite quickly. So, but he was happy to come into the room and say hi and considering exploring a, you know, like a healing session with you both. So there's something beautiful about the safe space that you create. And I think that's amazing. I heard you mention about entities. For the purpose of the listeners that don't understand what that means, could you just expand upon that, please?
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, it's a complex subject. So we'll obviously maybe even do one show on dark energy and what's actually happened and some experiences that we've actually done. So, but in brief, it's dark energy that's formed in people. For instance, bad experiences, even the relationships, or through childhood and things like that. So people go to a coach and say, oh, well, I've had childhood this, I've had childhood that, and they try and work through that. But it either leaves a shadow, if they do manage to leave some stuff from their mind, or it builds on their emotions, their anger, their frustrations, you know, their insecurity, and then something else forms in that particular space from that dark energy. And it takes a lot to form, but it does actually form. There is problems with entities moving between people as well. So if you're not, one of the aspects in the meditation is we show people how to protect themselves, ground themselves, release certain stresses as you experience. So if they feel as though that they're, and this is a very, very big part of our process, is that they feel self-empowered. You know, they feel as though that they're doing some of the healing for themselves. They feel as though they're grounding themselves because we teach them multiple techniques as they're going through. So they take away really, really beautiful life lessons from the coaching and the energy work we actually do. But also we're clearing stuff at the same time as the side of things that we do, and the more advanced stuff that we actually understand. And it's very much a gifted scenario as well, very much divinely driven, and that's our purpose. But going back to the entity side of things, is that they're formed through this dark matter and these experiences. So once they're actually removed, like you experienced yourself in the respect of the dark energy, is once it's removed, you have more of a connection to yourself and then connecting to other people. And that can be spiritually, it can be family, it can be whatever. And even we've worked with people in the church that have lost their connection. And then we've cleared certain things out of their aura, out of their energies and that side. And now they're this connected, divine sort of channel again, which is a real privilege for us as well. And then we'll work on somebody that's a single mum who just wants a beautiful connection with her daughter, which is a beautiful thing in its own right as well. You know, and the whole spectrum in between. You know?
Excellent. So, for instance, how could someone perhaps identify some of those things in themselves, or someone that they know, a significant other? What are some of the signs to look out for?
Well, it would be very much a case of how they actually behave, their behaviours. If it's erratic, if it's suddenly they fly off or they say something and it's like, well, that's not you. You know, where did that come from? That sort of side of things. And I know there's other things out there that could be related to as well. But I've got a deep sense of intuition, so I actually scan people either remotely or obviously on the calls and stuff, and see how they actually are, where we can actually go. And then I run energy through them, because I channel that, run energy through them and push out the dark energy first of all, but also look for entities in that layer, because one thing people have to understand, that there's multiple layers to people.
Yes.
Multiple layers. So the first layer comes off, and then something may or may not be removed at that particular point. But usually there is dark energy there. That's usually a very common scenario, which they've picked up in their own sort of lifestyle, lifetime. And then we remove that. And that in that essence, it allows them, like you mentioned, to be clearer, to feel as though that they are actually more grounded, more philosophical about things, how they actually feel about themselves, which then radiates out to everybody else, which you found out with your kids and things like that, you know. So, and and as you rightly say, creating that beautiful space for people to relax and to be, which we do naturally. So it's quite beautiful for us, because people come like your husband and suddenly feel, well, this is okay. This is okay to actually do this. This is a good space to do it in. I'm not going to be criticised. I'm not going to be this. I'm not going to be that. It's going to be a beautiful experience, and that's what we provide.
Excellent. What do you think some of the consequences will be if we kind of ignore those warning signs?
It leads to the system shuts down. Would you say?
Yeah,
that?
I mean, yeah, you've got things like overwhelm. You've got saturation point. That can be corporate. It can be at home. You know, families, all the way through to, you know, big business, if you want to call it that, where people will actually start feeling, you know, extremely tired, and it will get worse and worse and worse. Because what will actually happen, it will build up and build up and build up, and then the overwhelm hits, and then you just get floored, and then you're off work, or you can't function, and then illness comes into it, because your whole body starts to shut down. And then we work with people with severe illnesses as well that have got to that particular space, and within a short period of time, they're getting up again. They're actually feeling good. They're cooking for their children, for instance. They're making. They're not just trying to make an effort, they feel as though they want to actually do it. And this is what comes again from the very much power of powering them from within.
And they start making more empowered decisions that are best for their highest good. Yes, they bring the focus inwards. What is important to me? What is good for me? What is that I want to choose for me and my baby, for example, as a better way of living. Yes.
Yeah, and it creates this new paradigm for them in respect of, well, hang on a sec, I'm not happy with you saying that anymore, so I'm going to say, no, this isn't respecting me, for instance, and I'm going to say in a nice way, no, that's got to stop, because this isn't who I was. Sorry, I am now, that's who I was.
Yes.
And so you basically empower yourself.
And creating healthy boundary systems is so important in life, in every aspect of our life. I truly believe.
Yes, especially in today's society, when overall as humans we are very disconnected.
Yes.
And certain behaviors are socially accepted, and labeled as something else. You know, like disrespecting someone boundaries, which in other countries are called as rape, here are labeled as one night stand, and that's okay.
Yes, very true.
Yes, and that's okay by for whom? And then young women are not aware what is the consequence of that in their system on the spiritual, energetic, psychological level, emotional level. Yes, and then it manifests as certain pain, ache, tension, illness in their body. They can't have children, perhaps. This is extreme. Yes?
Yeah.
Because it's this self. Perhaps it can lead to self-hatred, because it's such a disconnected state. That's just an example.
No,
yes.
right.
Another example is people feeling so disconnected. They reach for quick fix, alcohol, drugs. Yes, this is how we see it. Is just desire to feel connection, desire to feel love and feel loved and love others, because they are so in such a sad space, within disconnected space within themselves. They are. This is like a call for help, cry for help. Yes. Is there any other examples?
Yeah, it's just, and as you wrote, it's very, very true. The cry for help in the respect of where are we going with this? How are we actually going? How am I going to change my particular lifestyle, even my pattern of life? Because you keep going down the same thing and it's not working. So what are you going to do? Are you going to continue doing this and not be respecting yourself and not being respected? Or do you want to change it? Do you really want to own your own life and live it the way you really dreamed it to be? Or are you going to just allow other people to not allow that to happen, which is...
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree.
So we'll support them through all of that.
Exactly, and that's beautiful. It might be a good point to actually share how people can get in touch with you. So, as you're suggesting, if anyone's got any concerns, it's best to reach out and connect with an expert. So, how could they find you guys?
Well, they've got my website of simplybeyourself.com, and that's got my email and telephone number as well if they want to email us, and we can then set up a call for like 20 minutes to see how we can actually help and support their particular journey and give them a detailed idea of what we can actually do for them as an individual as a bespoke experience.
Yeah. There's also a link to my profile, so they can find out more about our work, because there are also people share their experiences in the form of testimonials. There is also a beautiful client who is blogging about us and her experience with us. Yeah. And our website is under construction at the moment, so stay tuned.
Yeah. No,
I like that.
Something very unique to this, so this is very cool.
For the purpose of our listeners, if you connect with your heart space, what would be the individual message that you want the listeners to hear? Okay. Or you can do it joint. You don't have to have an individual one. It would just be nice to hear.
Do you mean in the respect of our uniqueness, or how do you want us to sort of present?
Why are you doing this? What is the reason why?
Because the world needs more connected and happy people. This is why.
I mean, this new unique duality is something very, very special. In the respect of the way that Marta actually coaches, the way I coach, but we blend that in the session beautifully. So I'll have more different types of questions, and Marta will have different types of questions as well, which will be very much in the moment for that particular person. So that duality in that is beautiful. So we bring into the world this one sort of space to do this mind, body, and soul experience. But all over the internet as well. So it's accessible to all in the respect of that. But we clear the patterns, we look at the blocks, we look at all the actual things that aren't allowing you to connect to your true self. Yeah, and that's what we do. But instead of going to individual people to try and to achieve it, you come to one space to actually have that experience, and that's.
Perhaps if there's someone listening, what would you like to say to them to perhaps get them to realize this is not the end? It's the experience or the condition they're currently in isn't the end. It's actually a gift for them to leap forward. I think Marina puts it quite nicely when she says the universe is giving you an upgrade when we go through difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, we work with some very, very, we've been very humbled by working with some incredible people that we see them coming through to be even more that they can actually be through our experience. So from that point of view, nobody is written off. It hasn't ended for anybody in our particular opinion.
Even if conventional medicine writes you off. Yes, so it's.
Yeah, we've done some amazing things.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
And the support and the way these people actually feel afterwards, just in themselves, and how they're motivated to actually you know, start working on themselves, where they want to go. And this is basically healing as well as mindset, as well as where they want to go. And it just helps to be able to talk to somebody that knows what they're doing, but on such a varied and broad way of doing things that we do in this experience.
Yes, and I love what you said about upgrade, and it is an upgrade of to the new paradigm, because we only are as effective as the paradigm we operate in. So maybe if something is not working, we need to change our paradigm. Yes, the model of the world, you know, and how we see ourselves and the world.
Yeah, I mean, just your experience for the listeners, Sabrina, in the respect of how you came across to your children, even though you're a fabulous mother and what you've done with them and everything else is amazing. But they saw it instantaneously. You had a rest, you had some time, you reflected, you came out and you tell us, when you saw your kids and how they actually spoke to you, that was a beautiful experience for you. And that was literally a few minutes after the experience. So if you can imagine that, compounding that through a few sessions and going through some real life-changing transformational work, then that's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens.
Absolutely beautiful. My question to you now is that I'm very much about being an excellent giver, which you both are. And I'm saying to my people that are willing to, the ones that are thankfully allowing me to interview them, how can this opportunity be of assistance to you? Who would you like to connect with? What would you like to happen as a result of this interview?
I think profoundly, we want to work with people that are ready. We want to work with people that are at that particular point where they go, I want to change. I want to do things, not procrastinate around it, but I want to do something with my life. I really want to change, and I want somebody to support me. And you're not going to one person, you're going to two. You're going to the masculine and the feminine in the both of us, but obviously, you know, there's more in one than the other. And just want the change for themselves, and we'll support them with it through the sessions. Simple as that.
Are you open to, perhaps, if there's any listeners that have clinics, that you can come and do talks or sessions there?
Absolutely, yeah. Just send them through either to yourself or to the links that you'll provide at the bottom that we've already given to you, and then let's just make this happen. You know, we will talk to anybody about what they actually need, and then give them advice or plan some sessions with them and support them through the process.
We are very open to collaboration and co-creation.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what we're doing next, because of you. And thank you, Sabrina, you know, because you're amazing.
You're welcome. It's co-creation, isn't it? It's nice that we come together with synchronicity at the right timing. And it's absolutely, it feels so nice actually sat here with both of you right now, just watching you, just being flow. And I think that there's so much more that you guys have got to give, and it's just the beginning, because this is a new collaboration, right? You guys have got your own separate expertise, and you've managed to bring them together. Could you tell me a bit about this? Like, you know, what the two of you individually do?
Should I start? I mean,
You start.
Okay. For myself, I've been sort of a coach, mentor, trainer for 25 years. So, and that's from various high-end companies like Compact, HP, various other companies in the oil industry as well. So I've had a lot of detailed experience dealing with different people, younger, older than myself as well. And about 10 years ago or so, I got into coaching, and then about 7 years ago, got into real energy work and understanding that. So a brief history of me, you know, from being a teenager in Rio de Janeiro and growing up with a dad in the oil industry, to being an international expert in design for HP, and now really committed to this because, you know, I've traveled the world, I've done lots of things, but this is my true passion, and, you know, with Marta. So it's, for me, it's beautiful. You know, it's just, this is an amazing experience, an amazing journey.
Beautiful.
On to you now.
So yes, background in automotive industry, very process-oriented and systemic approach to continuous improvement and improvement of processes, which I bring to the sessions as well. And many years in automotive industry, as well as coaching and training. in a corporate environment, which led to actually feeling the overwhelm and making a decision at some point. No, actually, I want to take a break and see, how I want to live my life moving forward. Amazing coaching journey with individual clients, and last couple of years energy work, which was beautifully unfolding for me, and like you say, a lot of synchronicities, giving me opportunity to actually practice those gifts, and bringing them more and more to my sessions. And that was a process for me to actually recognize my gifts and who I am. And now we work together. And like we mentioned before, is beautiful process of creation and co-creation. So we are very creative with the new gifts we are discovering, and every session is unique. So I'm blown away by what it's only the beginning, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But you're both very beautiful conduits of light, and it's a pleasure actually talking to you about your journey. And it's beautiful how it's effortlessly brought you together. You've both got your own individual powers, and you've come together like yin and yang and created this harmonious, beautiful space for people to grow. And thank you. Thank you for choosing to step up and shine your light and be you. I think that's the most important thing. We're coming towards the end of the show. One of the things I thought was quite interesting, we spoke about decluttering. For the purpose of the listeners, could you explain the importance of spring cleaning, so to speak, or decluttering just before we leave?
Yeah, well, it's about the actual items in your wardrobe, bags, dresses, clothes, but it's also how or when you actually wore them, in what event, what relationship even, how that actually feels about you, why it's actually in there, why people close their wardrobe doors even, because they don't want that energy in the room. But what we actually can do is go through people's clothes and see what energies they're not resonating with anymore. And it's not as if does it fit me or anything else, it's what energy is in that particular garment, dress, or whatever. And also we can clear it as well. We can clear that energy. If that person really loves that dress and it's about something else or somebody else, but it doesn't actually affect or offend or mainly affect that particular person, it can be clean, the energy can be removed, and that garment can be worn almost like as a fresh start. So, and that can be a bag or something like that, which has particular energy attached to it, or emotions.
Yes.
Yeah,
emotions that we associate with, memories that we associate with certain items. So it doesn't have to be clothes. It can be, we look around our house and then we see, actually, I don't like this cabinet, or I don't like this, but it's still there. And why is it there? Why are we hanging on to it? These are the important questions to ask when we do the spring cleaning. And this spring cleaning, when we go deeper, the tradition it came from, it is about clearing out, saying goodbye to the old and making room for the new to come. So it's letting go of the old, and it's springtime. It's time for to plant new seeds, new ideas. Let's prepare the ground for it, which is, let's sweep the floors, let's remove the items. Yes, so, emotions, thoughts, energies. Yeah.
So it's not just how you're thinking, it's what you're wearing. It's your environment. It's we do space clearing or house clearing as well of energy in that particular house as well. But
it's interesting. One of the podcasts, I heard something that completely resonates with me. Jason Silva talks about how we create our environment and how our environment creates us. And there is this synergy. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so it's about everything that you actually are. I mean, we work with the mind and the body and the soul at first, get that particular person to be believing in themselves, seeing where they're actually going, what they're actually doing, and having a clear sort of vision of what they want in the future as well. And go each particular session going through a particular subject or topic or area that they want to actually, and then we do that in the deep trance meditation. We work with that. If it's a relationship, if it's a situation, if it's a whatever it may be, because we can blend that into any scenario for that particular person in that moment. And then tweak it as we go along, even in the session, because that's why we're so dynamic. You know, we're on point, we're there, and it's like, well, can we do this? Can we do that next? Yeah, okay, cool. And then we just do it. So it becomes very effortless for the people as well that work with us.
Beautiful. Well, that seems like a beautiful message to the listeners. You know, it's springtime. Perhaps it's time for us to do some spring cleaning and make some room for something new. So let's give it some thought. What new seeds would you like to plant? Richard and Marta, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to Radio Works for this platform. And I look forward to maybe having another discussion going forward, you know, share some more of what you've got.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we could have another show on a particular subject or a particular element, and we can go deeper into that, you know, so that'd be beautiful. We look forward to it.
Sounds lovely. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasant day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.